Committed to the implementation of the National Information Technology Policy in Nigeria, the National Information Technology Development Agency, Nitda, in line with its mandate, is to create a framework for the planning, research, development, standardization, application, coordination, monitoring, evaluation, and regulation of information technology practices in Nigeria. On these informative notes, you're welcome to the program Nitda Impact. The program is designed to inform and educate the public of issues, development, trends, and Nitda's role in fostering IT growth in Nigeria. Again, you're welcome. In this maiden edition, you would learn more about Nitda and its mandate, mission, and efforts at growing the Nigeria digital ecosystem. The Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, Nitda, Dr. Isa Ali Pantami, will be speaking on Nitda's achievements under his watch, in line with President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, plus a quiz that would excite you. But first, let's take you through Nitda's key priorities. Before then, let's take a look at some issues that made news.
The National Information Technology Development Agency, Nitda, reviewed guidelines and standards for development of data centers with experts at a forum in Lagos. In a bid to enhance software testing and usage by software developers, Mr. Isaac Olayinka Adejube encouraged software practitioners to be properly certified in order to improve service delivery to Nigerians.
This is just one of the way we can encourage IT in Nigeria. We all know how important software development is. Even if you don't know, they all use WhatsApp. It's just an application that runs on billions of mobile devices worldwide.
Nitda's Deputy Director, Head of Standards, Guidelines and Regulations, Mr. Lazarus Ikote, emphasized the major reasons for a cogent framework for software testing and usage as a way of meeting up with acceptable world standards.
Can we get a framework that will back up a certain hypothesis center? That is the first thing I think about. The second is that, can we also bring up the crop of professionals in software first?
Experts speak on the need to protect software quality assurance as well as the importance of being informed to be able to tackle cyber attacks on software.
People say if you have a program you're developing or a solution you're developing, they always say, does it conform with international standards? And that's one of the things I've always had a struggle with, because there are international frameworks, but they're not necessarily any international standards. Every country has its own standard. You know, in the UK, they have their own standard pertinent to their own operating environment.
Every day, every second, every minute, some bad guys are out there launching an attack. Because the world has become a global village, we don't know who is attacking who. But a lot of things have been put in place, though it's not enough for us to be able to detect, to be able to monitor, and if possible, to be able to prevent.
In line with President Muhammadu Buhari's administration to create jobs and opportunities to create entrepreneurs among Nigerian youths using information and communication technology tools, the National Information Technology Development Agency, Nitda, has commenced the training of some selected members of the National Youth Service Corps through open source software development. The training, which is set to provide a platform for the corps members to showcase their talents and ideas, would aid job creation and revenue generation as an alternative to oil. Nitda is trying to set up innovation hubs having 2 per zone to focus on the need of each zone and see how we can use ICT to address the problems and work with all our sectors to incubate ideas as the ideas can move to solutions, and solutions, if mentored, can develop and move to the level of commercialization and earn money from which people can be employed, pay taxes and live well. The representative of the management of NYSC, Mrs. Miriam Sheila, commended Nitda for the opportunity given to the corps members to acquire deeper knowledge of what they have learnt in school and urged the participants to concentrate more on the training and put into practice what they have learnt.
I want to encourage you to please be punctual and partake. Learn. What you are learning now is for your own good. Tomorrow you can teach others. As our father in the house said, whatever you learn now is your own knowledge. Nobody can take it away from you. So please bring your heads down, learn, ask questions, and learn. It's only for a limited time.
Club members expressed their sincere appreciation and spoke about what they have learned and how well they are willing to make use of their acquired skills.
In the short time I've been here, I've learned how to create websites and host them using templates like WordPress and Joomla. So I'm looking forward to learning more so that I can create my own codes and create my websites from simple languaging.
But when I was selected to partake in Nitda training, I came here seeing how it's being done from Wi-Fi to Joomla, WordPress, and Drupal. I was able to organize this particular website, www.mygoldenSMS.com, and to that I added innovations to that now you can even send messages and they will enter people's phone calling their respective names. Not the normal routine, dear customer, but now you can send a bulk message that will enter somebody's phone and it will actually call the person's name in the content of the message.
Our key priorities: capacity building, regulation, digital job creation, government digital service promotion, local content development and promotion, cybersecurity, and digital inclusion. Now to the quiz. Very interesting. Number 1. Who is the Director General of Nitda and when did he assume office? I repeat. Who is the Director General of Nitda and when did he assume office? Number 2. When was Nitda established? Again, when was Nitda established? You can please send your answers to info@nitda.gov.ng. Send your answers to info@nitda.gov.ng. As part of its mandate to ensure the development of IT local content, the National Information Technology Development Agency, Nitda, had a friendly conversation with the Nigeria Computer Original Equipment Manufacturers Association. These, according to Dr. Isa Ali Pantami, the Director General of Nitda, is meant to foster a better relationship with the computer manufacturers and understand the issues they are faced with.
Local content promotion and development is one of our strategic pillars. And to show to you that if you look at Nitda, you see we have an Office of Local Content, Office of National Content, Indigenous Content. That office focuses more on how to promote and develop our local content. And it is semi-autonomous. We allow the office to operate like maybe semi-independent to see how local content can be projected, promoted, and developed effectively. Because I believe that our OEMs need protection, need our patronage, and they need all our support to develop. We're looking at our population of approximately 180 million people, looking at our maybe youthful category, around maybe 70 million of Nigerians are within the age of 15 to 35. You know, they are all IT natives. They are addicted to ICT to the extent that ICT has become part and parcel of their life. They can't live without ICT. So with this, I think it's good for us to utilize this manpower to see how we can develop our national content and at the same time to see how we can patronize it. Because developing without patronizing is not important. We need to produce what we need and we need to patronize what we develop.
You're watching Nitda Impact, a weekly awareness program meant to inform and educate you on the activities of Nitda. For further details, please log on to www.nitda.gov.ng. For more information on the mission, vision, and core values of Nitda, we present to you this package. Nitda's core values are discipline, competence, fairness, professionalism, efficiency. Dr. Isa Ali Pantami is the Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, Nitda. Appointed over a year ago, the young, dynamic Director General has made a lot of progress in growing the IT sector in Nigeria and reshaping the agency. In this exclusive interview, he bears his mind on the growth of Nitda in the past year.
With all sense of responsibility, it's absolutely difficult for me to always speak on my achievements, because usually when you are collecting data, you always try to avoid bias. Sometimes, if you are all out to say your achievements, that could temper with your humility. And if you remain silent without exposing some, then by implication, you are undermining your achievement. So sometimes I always admire and appreciate when other people that know the sector very well and know my activities very well assess me, and at the same time appreciate where we go well, and also criticize us constructively on how to improve. Before I speak on that, I begin by making reference to a certificate given to us by the Vice President recently in the banquet hall. He gave a certificate of commendation to certain agencies. I am glad to say that Nitda was among the agencies that the Vice President personally signed a certificate and handed over to us for the commendation, which I think says a lot about what we have been doing. A professor, the second citizen of the country, someone who knows law very well and who is passionate about the country, can commend you by presenting a certificate to you is a clear indication that no, whatever you do, at least it has been appreciated by those that appointed you. Secondly, the president of the country, President Muhammad Buhari, GCFR, was in Nigeria in November. If you go through his speech, some of the things he said are very clear, that he commended the effort of Nitda's management for what the agency has been doing of recent, particularly in IT clearance. Within the year, within only 1 year, he clearly stated what the agency has achieved was a lot. And in that regard, I can tell you, through the clearance, IT clearance for MDAs, so far, if you are to just capture the figures we review, and before we approve, the agency saved not less than 9 billion naira. Not to talk about the technical value we added, not to talk about the supervision we are doing for the ongoing projects. All these are for free. No money is being paid to us besides government paying our salary. You cannot quantify this, because most of the approval we give, we ensure that we follow the execution from A to Z, particularly any project that we consider is very dear to the nation, and the amount of money to be committed is a huge one, and the project is strategic. We try to see that we monitor the implementation. So this is something that is difficult to quantify, but the amount of money to be quantified for sure, the amount saved, if you at least sum it all, it could not be less than 9 to 10 billion naira so far. Because I can recall in only one project in oil sector, we saved 3.2 billion naira in only one project through clearance. If we were not able to review it critically and save that money, for sure that amount will have gone. So I think this is a clear indication that the two gentlemen, number one and the second citizen of the country, first and second, have appreciated what the agency has been doing, and they commended our effort. With all sense of responsibility, we are most appreciative of their commendation, and we consider it as a motivation to do more and more. And secondly, and superficially as well, the agency, within the time I have spent here, I can clearly say a lot has been achieved. Firstly, when I came on board, with the support of my management team and other stakeholders, we came up with 9 strategic pillars. One is digital inclusion. In digital inclusion, it's all about intervention, providing access to ICT. We established 86 digital capacity building centers all over the country so far. We provided wide area network, 3 so far and 3 are ongoing, which each are, the wide area network is over 100 million naira each. We also provided virtual libraries, 3 last year, and currently, as part of 2017, we have 3 ongoing projects in that regard. And currently, within 2018, as part of 2017 project, we have 80 digital job creation centers that are ongoing all over the country. So you have 86 digital capacity building centers, 6 wide area network completed and ongoing, and you have 6 virtual libraries ongoing and completed, and you have 80 wide digital job creation centers ongoing, and each and every one is packaged with e-learning facilities. This as part of our digital inclusion. And at least superficially, this is what we have been doing. And there are many centers that were down. As part of the intervention, we try to see that we renovate them, we upgrade their system where that is necessary. Secondly, in terms of IT regulation, I think the agency has been doing wonderfully well based on what stakeholders that are very fair to us have been saying. Since the establishment of the agency, there was no time that the agency focuses more on regulation more than now. Because the responsibility of the agency can be summarized into 2, IT development and IT regulation. The agency before focused more on development, but now we focus on both of them, IT development and IT regulation. They need to go simultaneously. You cannot neglect the other one. And we consider our regulation for the sake of development. We try to monitor to see how we can enforce local content, how we can regulate it by bringing down the costs where necessary. When I came on board, I realized that cybersecurity was more than a unit, particularly in our act. It is clearly stated under the function of Nitda that we are to enhance the security of nation through information technology. Because of that, I contacted relevant ministries and other bodies. That unit has been upgraded to a department. So now we have a cybersecurity department. Under that department, we have computer emergency response and readiness team. And that team monitors all potential attacks 24 hours, 24/7. When there is any attack, we notify relevant agencies and advise them on how to handle the challenge. So our SAT, I think for now, is very effective. Very effective. Exactly. So this is what the agency has been going, and now we are even organizing sensitization workshop for MDAs. At least we have ongoing one, which is going to take place in all the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria to sensitize at least ICT heads of relevant ministries and departments of even state government, so that at least they will be aware of cyber security and the cyber attack or cyber crime as well. So this is part of what the agency has been doing. The same with local content development. Through our IT clearance, we try to enforce local content because of Executive Order 003 and Presidential Order 005. So our surveillance team goes out, monitors ongoing projects. We call them to order. We always give them directives that low indigenous content must be respected. And that is why even now, however, some of them breach our act, and we reported them to relevant authorities. I think, as you know, as part of our capacity building, the agency sponsors brilliant Nigerians for MSc and PhD. So far, those who got their MSc and PhD in countries like the UK, the US, Germany, and Canada, so far we have sponsored 300 and around 20-something to these countries for MSc and PhD. In spite of recession in last year, with all the challenges, I ensure that we sustain their payment. All those I inherited with their at least valid admission letter and at the same time award letter, I ensure that we sustain that payment. We went to the extent of borrowing money to pay them. And even recently, we awarded 2 per state. So 2 by per state, you have around 72. Plus 2 FCT, you have 74. And this is for MSc alone. And for PhD, we awarded 2 per geopolitical zone. And this is part of 2017. However, we were able to achieve it in 2018. So this is part of building skill. And most of them, if you go through their admission, you will see some in cybersecurity, some in ICT law, some in information technology, some in information security, some IT information system, and many more. We look at the areas that are very relevant to our mandate and very critical to the country before we allow them to do. And part of their research in MSc or PhD, we ensure that they partake in research within Nitda's mandate. So with this, that your research must be within Nitda's mandate. I'm the one who introduced this now. This research, after your PhD or MSc, then the agency can review your own thesis critically and see your recommendations and see how we can implement. So because of this now, as part of our agreement with even the scholars, sometimes with the institutions, the research must be within Nitda's mandate. We must agree on the citation, the proposed topic for the research. So at the end of it, you come up with recommendations, and we sit down and see how we can review. And Nitda must be acknowledged in your thesis, and at the same time, you must submit 1 soft copy and 1 hard copy to the agency. This is for documentation and for implementation as well. So this is what we have been doing. Furthermore, we have been organizing capacity training. Recently, we had one in the Northeast for internship program for graduates, in which we train around 300 young Nigerians. And we have ongoing one now for women in ICT. And recently, we concluded training for catch-up young, for even those in primary and secondary schools, at least to make them more passionate about ICT. So that is why the training even took place here in our Nitda IT lab. And I used to go there and even joke with them. So this is what has been going on. And we also organize training even for people with disabilities, in which we donated computers, laptop to them, the one they need and they use in their writings. That one took place in Abuja. And we are proposing another one, most probably will be started next month in Southwest and South-South, another training. And we have been going around the country through our Start of Friday to identify brilliant Nigerians and see how we can support them so that they can make the country proud. I have a very good relationship, or let me say, Nitda has an excellent relationship with all of them. For example, as you said, NOTAP, we have a standing committee between Nitda and NOTAP. It's a standing committee. They work together, they meet together, they discuss and see how we can work together, how we can have synergy, which I think is very important. The DG of NETAB was here last year on a courtesy visit, and he came purposely to see how that relationship can be strengthened and improved. And I believe that I'm in touch with him, and we have been doing excellently well through our collaboration. Secondly, we also have a standing committee with NCC as well. That of NOTAP, the committee is being chaired by Mr. Christopher Okeke. With NCC is being chaired by Dr. Ago Collins Ago. It's also a standing committee. No one can do it alone. We are serving the same government, and we are serving the same people, Nigerians. So with this, it's better for us to come and work together. And sometimes you can see an overlap in our mandate. So when there is this overlap, instead of you to be fighting one another about this is mine or that is mine, just ignore all these things, come and work together. together.
Yes.
There is not any problem. We are after the success,
Yes.
not claiming that this is your mandate.
Yes.
What will happen if it is my mandate and it is given to me and I couldn't do anything? That is useless. What we are after is the result.
Yes.
So whenever I see any ministry, department, or agency that our mandate overlaps, the first thing I do, I reach to them, let us come and work together.
Okay.
So I have a standing committee with NOTAP, standing committee with NCC,
Okay.
good working relationship with Galaxy as well. We have a standing committee with EFCC.
Okay.
Now we are having a standing committee with Bureau of Public Procurement as well. Even today we signed an OMU with the DG of National Orientation Agency when it comes to creating awareness and sensitizing Nigerians. So with this, I think our relationship with other MDAs is very cordial.
Interestingly, that was the Director General of Nitda, Dr. Isa Ali Pentami, on the development and growth of Nitda in the past year. With that, we say a very big thank you to the DG, staff and management of Nitda for this program. Until next week, if you have any information, please reach Nitda at info@nitda.gov.ng. Until then, I remain my humble self, Safia Benjuma. Bye.